Hello world, I'm the new guy. Welcome to my channel. So this is going to be the second video of the series of JavaScript videos about arrays methods. On this video we're going to check the map method. You're going to see that it's somehow related and somehow you will think it's the same one as the previous video that was for each, but you will see that there's a lot of differences, core differences between these two methods. So I think it's really important for you to actually identify each one of these differences, and so you can know when to use one or the other. We're gonna take a look at two examples with some variations, so you will see how many different places you can apply this method. I'm gonna leave you some timestamps on the description of the video, so you can just click on that and go to the specific example, so you don't have to watch the entire video. So let's begin. But before begin, please subscribe to my channel and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any of the future videos that I will upload to the channel. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so for our first example, we're gonna take an array of temperatures that are on Fahrenheit and we're gonna convert them into Celsius, which is the main characteristic of the map function. It helps you to convert an array of one values into the other without actually modifying the original array. So let's get into it. Let's have a new array. So we simply just go into the map function. We have the temp, and I'm gonna use an arrow function this time. On the further examples, I'm gonna use a simple function, so you can see that with both you can work with both of them. So the formula to convert temperature in between different versions, it's like this. So you basically just do that, and then so we have it like that. Let's just double check that whatever we're doing, it's working fine. So this goes here. Cool, we have our first example working. For the second example, what we're gonna do is grab a little more complex data structure. Let's assume that we have this from an API that we got an array of objects, and what we're gonna do in this example is actually override the date of birth, and let's assume also we want to create like an email for this user, for each one of these users. So let's get into it. Const, let's say this is gonna be called new data, and as before we have the single. Let's use this time normal function so you can see the difference. So it's going to be a person as a single object. Each one of these is going to be the person on this example, and we just need to return. Let's do something like this, because we are actually going to recreate a new object for each one of the iterations of the map function. So let's return our person, and then we're gonna override some properties. In this case, let's create a new property that it's gonna be called email, and this is gonna be the person dot name with a dot and a person last name. And let's add in the complete domain. So let's say it's the newguy.com. Let's check up what we have so far, and cool, we got it. So what we can do here, it's just some different console, so we can more clearly see what's happening. So as you can see, our original array of objects didn't have the actual email property, so we're constructing that, and we're passing on to the new array. That's the return part of this map function. Let's just now modify a little bit this example so we can use another cool property that you're gonna see on the map function. So let me just type it so you can see it. Let's create a new property that it's gonna hold the same structure that I already had, but I want to add a new property that's gonna be the date of birth. We originally had it like this simple string, but I actually want to return a date, a proper formatted date. So I can do this new date, and so I can pass in this property here, and let's see what we have. Data, let's call this 2, otherwise it's not going to work because I already have one with that name. And it's working. As you can see, we have the new date of birth with an actual date object that we can further process if we need it. So the trick that I wanted to show you on this part, it's we can create the callback as a separate function, and we're gonna inject that function into the actual map execution. But the neat part is that we can like omit, or the first parameter of the callback, it's gonna be like the default parameter that you are sending from the map function itself. So let me just write this down so it's a little more clear. Let's define our callback function. It's gonna be exactly this one. And we just simply use it as the parameter for the orb, and if everything's cool, we're gonna see the same exactly results. So there you go. As mentioned before, what's gonna happen here is this callback function is getting the first parameter passed on from the map function as the first parameter as well. So this is kind of a neat trick, so the code's a little more clean. And for the third and final example, what we can do, it's let's take this a little step further. Let's reuse the same map, the same object that we were using before, the array of contacts. And what we're gonna do this time is we're gonna use the scope of this object inside the map function, so we can have different values depending on the scope that we're sending through this property. So let's say we have a new data. We can actually use the same trick that I showed you just now. Then the callback that's gonna be passed on to the map function on each iteration. But this time, let's use this property in this section. So we're gonna, let's say we have a property that it's called domain. So we need to pass on that on this part. So we're gonna say domain, it's gonna be let's say Gmail. So as before, we can just dump our data. And if everything is okay, we can see that we're passing correctly, we're using correctly this property, this scope inside the callback function. So we can pass in a different domain, let's say Yahoo, and we just need to use a different value, and there you go. We can actually clean this up a little bit, and there you go. So these were some examples for you to actually understand what's happening with the map function. So I'm hoping you can see the difference, and you know now how to make use of for each or maybe map. So each one, it has its own uses, and you have them both now on your belt. That's it for this video. Give a like if you like it, and subscribe using the bell notification so you won't miss any upcoming videos from the channel. Next time we're gonna keep checking new array methods. Bye world!